All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the Choosing Your High School Schedule College panel. We're going to introduce you to the college reps joining us today. We've got me, Suzanne Patterson. I'm one of the school counselors at Bartram, and Michelle Sterling is here as well, representing the school counseling department at Bartram. University of Florida.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Roth. So I am your representative for the University of Florida, but I am also here on behalf of my colleagues at FSU, UCF, the bigger schools.
Thanks. VSU, Valdosta.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the admissions counselors at Valdosta State University. We are located in South Georgia, for those of you in Florida who may not know. And I'm here on behalf of your school counselor, not your school counselor, sorry, your school representative, Dowling Gibson.
Thanks. JU?
Hey guys, my name is Robert Wason. I am your representative for Jacksonville.
Thanks. And UNF?
Hello everyone, my name is Latonio Nichols and I am the admissions coordinator at UNF and I am as well your representative.
All right, thanks everybody. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. So first question, the one question that we get asked above every other question when students are choosing their classes is which is better. So on Bartram's campus, we offer both dual enrollment and advanced placement courses. And then of course, students can also take dual enrollment over at the college at St. John's River State College. So we get asked, which is better? What is better for college admissions? Does anybody want to take that first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Go ahead and jump in.
Right.
Here at UNF, both are pretty much on the same level plane. We recalculate GPAs, so we offer an additional 1 point for both AP and dual enrollment courses. So it doesn't matter for us, whichever one that you have. We take both.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Exactly what we've been saying for years. Okay, thanks. All right. Anybody else want to add to that?
I'll just jump in. I was, anytime I'll agree from like our side, I'll put the thumbs up. But I think it comes down to more of that, what works best for you. And that's where we're working with you guys as the counselors to kind of understand what fits in the schedule, what you as a student will be most successful in, because that's what we want to see. And I'm seeing nodding from my colleagues. So what will you thrive in doing, and how can you build the most academically challenging? Yes, but that's where AP and dual enrollment both weighted the same in our GPA calculations as well, both seen as rigorous. What can you do to be as successful as possible?
Thank you. Ms. Sterling, do you have any follow-ups, or are you good?
Well, does it matter the number of AP classes or dual enrollment classes that a student takes? That's a big question. Also, we have students who want to take 6 AP classes or load their schedule.
So I'll jump in. Coming from a highly competitive atmosphere, and I will say, like I said, speaking not just for the Gators, but there's not a number. So we're not going to say you have to take at least 4 or 5 or 10. I'm trying to think of my roster right now of how many I'm seeing. It's more so what competitively within the group that you are being reviewed against. That's where the competition comes in. But again, you don't want to take more than what you can be successful in, because we do drill down, we do look at the individuals. Even with holistic reviewing, we're looking context within context within context. So yes, your first level of competition may be within the school because you have the same academic challenging coursework and scheduling, but it's not going to come down to, well, at this school I have to take this many. There's no hard and fast rule like that for our admissions.
Thanks.
I'll jump in and say for VSU, a less competitive school than UF or any of those larger schools that she was just referring to. We don't have a specific number, just whatever you can be successful in. If that's 1 or 2 for that student, that would be perfectly acceptable. If a student over their course of maybe their junior or senior year think they can handle up to 6, 7, or 8, we'll take credit for those as well, just whatever the student thinks that they can be successful in.
Okay.
You have one more follow-up question, Ms. Patterson. This is from one of our students who wanted me to ask, because we're talking about AP classes and what is successful. Our students want to know, is it better to take a bunch of really rigorous courses and do okay or average in those courses, or is it better to take a few AP courses or dual enrollment courses and do really well?
I'll jump in on this one. I think the key is to make sure you're challenging yourself, but not overwhelming yourself. So that can be a different thing for every student. But what I would say is I think it looks a lot better if you have A's and B's with a couple APs or dual enrollments versus if your schedule is super challenging with a bunch of AP and dual enrollments, but you're getting C's and D's. That would show that you maybe overwhelmed yourself a little bit. So it's finding that right balance is key.
Yeah.
I'll give 2 thumbs up on that one.
Yeah, I can agree to that as well. Because with our GPA being recalculated, it is recalculated with a grade of C or higher. So we're definitely counting on students to challenge themselves to really achieve and be disciplined at whatever they decide to take on. So if you're going to take it on, be prepared to do the work to achieve a high grade so that you can get the best opportunity at having a competitive GPA in receiving the admission to the university of your choice.
Yes. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
And I think that's key too. Like, it boils down to a GPA calculation in students' minds, but that's on our end, that's not everything that we're looking at. We're looking at, yes, how did you accept a challenge of a rigorous academic community like our respective colleges and universities? Like, that's what your application is. It's show me what you have done to best display how successful you will be should we invite you to our academic community. So keeping that perspective, that's where I think also flipping that, what's the highest GPA I can get, or something like that. Don't boil it down to just a single number like that. Think about it in that bigger context that we're going to be looking at.
Right. Because the bigger picture is it's not just about getting into college, it's actually graduating with a degree. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You're not done once you get in college. Sorry, y'all.
So let's talk about implications of dual enrollment and doing poorly in dual enrollment, specifically W's, D's, and F's, and even the occasional C in a dual enrollment class. There are financial aid implications. There's implications of students not being able to get into the program of their choice because of the D's, the F's, and the W's. Can someone speak on that as well?
I actually had a background in financial aid, so this one's always near and dear to my heart. My colleagues will let me. So yes, dual enrollment, even though you are in high school, when you are starting it, it is considered dual enrollment. You are enrolling in a college course. That starts your college record. So number one, the first, the most often question I get asked on, well, I don't want to count those. That's not an option. It is your permanent record. It comes with you for the rest of your life, because the credits don't go anywhere. You take Mac 1105, college algebra, that is your college algebra. You can retake it. Advisors can do some things once you get to college if you need to retake, and there's some other advising pieces. Sorry, I was an academic advisor too. But that grade, that credit comes with you. So looking at, yes, financial aid implications. You're starting out your college record with a 1.0, 2.0. Sometimes that can impact your satisfactory academic progress. That federal funding, and some of that can be Pell Grant and loans, and I won't get into the differences right now, but different pieces of monies can be impacted with how well you're progressing through college. The federal government doesn't want to give more free money if you are not being successful in college classes. That's the ultimate kind of guideline. So again, it is a bigger kind of commitment because you are starting that college journey. You're a little bit younger, you have a little bit more support system, so that's great. Again, lean on your counselors, yay. But understand that it is real. You're starting real college. And then later, if it's a class that you need to get for getting into the engineering program or something like that, that grade can come into whether you're competitive for that college or not. I'll stop there.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Does anybody else want to chime in, or are we all thumbs up on that one? Okay, awesome. Okay.
See, nobody wants to talk about financial aid.
Yeah.
Jessica spoke, thank you for that, about what does a grade, you know, a D or a C in dual enrollment mean, but can you tell us what does a W mean? Or anybody as far as admissions to your school, how do you view W's, withdrawals from college classes or even AP classes if there's a withdrawal from, or any class on a high school schedule? You notice that?
Well, I'll start with the college, the dual enrollment. For us, for admission, so when I'm looking at an application for my freshman class and I see that there was a W, I view that right now as a smarter choice because you had those conversations and you chose to withdraw rather than overburden yourself, or, you know, that you were working with your lovely counselors. What that means is that you still had the attempted credit, like you were enrolled past a certain point in the semester, and then but before another deadline in it, you chose to withdraw and say, no, I'm not going to complete this class. So it is going to stay on your record. Because the college, the university, I'm going to say college because I'm assuming St. John's River for these scenarios, that St. John's River State College had you enrolled. So you have a record started there, but because of the time involved, that W then will stay on that transcript. So number one, then we would need the transcript because you have that record. The withdrawals are usually no penalties. They're not counting into your GPA because you don't have an unsuccessful grade. You chose that W instead. And that's why it's usually better than, you know, getting a D and starting out with that very, very low GPA.
Okay, thank you. And then going forward, and you may not be able to speak on this, and if you can't, that's okay. The rule where if you get, I believe it's 3 or more attempts, so a W, and an F, and then the out-of-state tuition attempt, and this might be more of a UNF, UF question.
I'm going to say I've been out of the advising sphere for a little bit, but yes, at a certain point that you have to keep retaking class, they're going to start charging you at a certain point. So yes, and then overall there is, again, keeping students on track to graduate within a timely manner. There's some penalties after that too. So again, it does start to play into that longer academic journey that you are starting with.
Right.
Yeah.
But just to clear, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, just, I agree, yes.
Okay, and then just to clarify, if a student earns a W, even in high school with college classes, that is always going to stay on their college transcript forever.
Correct.
Okay. Let's talk about the work-life balance regarding rigorous courses. We kind of touched on that a little bit about, you know, this is all an individual journey for us, and we have to make sure that we're making sure that we have a really good balance with all of our classes. Yes, let's try to take some rigorous classes if we are able to do that, but do we need to take, you know, we offer 7 classes at Bartram. Do we need to take 7 AP classes in order to be competitive type of thing? So, Sarah, do you want to talk about maybe like that work-life balance a little bit?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. At Valdosta State, when we are reviewing your application, we do look at extracurriculars or anything that you do put on your application, we do look at it and take it into consideration. But personally at VSU, I can't speak on behalf of more competitive schools like UNF or UF. I'll let them touch on that themselves. We look mostly at your GPA, and by the time that these juniors are going to be applying for the 2022 most likely year, we will also be looking at those SAT scores or ACT scores. So for us, we focus more on the GPA, SAT, ACT, rather than the extracurriculars. Now, my personal suggestion is if you can handle any extracurriculars, work-life balance, anything like that, that will be more beneficial to you as a student, because once you get into college, you will want to be involved on campus. You will want to maybe need to have a job or anything like that. So that will prepare you, if you're able to do that in high school, help prepare you to be more successful in college. And as you mentioned earlier, the goal for college is to graduate with that degree. So being able to set yourself up and start preparing yourself will make you more successful in college. But as for solely admissions purpose, VSU doesn't really need too many extracurriculars or anything like that.
Okay, thanks. JU, since you're a private school, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so at JU, like I said before, with making sure that you're challenging yourself and not overwhelming yourself, college is all about that work-life balance. And really, as these students, they're juniors now and becoming seniors, it's that process starts now. So you can start with that work-life balance now. So finding the right course load for you, getting good at managing your time, it's something you can really practice now, because in college, you're not going to be in the classroom as nearly as much time as you are now. So the whole name of the game will just be managing your time, being able to budget that out, finding that work-life balance. So definitely still stay involved with extracurricular activities, take care of yourself, make sure you're not completely overwhelming yourself with classes, but start working on that work-life balance now so it could be easier to transition once you're to college.
Thank you. UNF?
Yes. Similarly to VSU, we also mainly focus on your GPA, so your transcript, as well as your test scores. Extracurricular activities isn't really considered in terms of admissions, but they are definitely recommended if you are interested in pursuing other things outside of your studies. And also we have our Hicks Honors College. They take a more of a holistic approach as far as your leadership skills, all of those different things, community involvement, the different things that you get involved in. So as far as admissions, we only focus on GPA and transcript test scores. So in those aspects, we definitely expect for you to excel and do your best and put forth your best effort in your school studies, so that way you have the great opportunity at having a great GPA that is competitive in terms of receiving an admissions decision into our university.
All right, thanks. UF?
Okay, so yeah, we look at all of that. And I will say, again, this is highly selective universities who are looking at a holistic review. So point to my FSU diploma back there too. So we will look at more. We know that the straight numbers I was talking about, like that GPA calculation isn't going to be everything. But yes, you want to still maximize your balance. You want to do the best that you can and still sleep. Please sleep. It's very important for your own mental health, and yes, not burning out. So we are not encouraging burnouts. Please don't make any of those assumptions. We want you to thrive. That is the goal. And then we want to hear about how you have been thriving. That is what we want to read. And so, yes, we are going to look at what you have been engaged in. And, you know, my biggest recommendation is find something you love doing, because then you're going to want to spend time. It's going to refresh your spirit. So that's kind of, I guess, a little bit different for our admissions process. Selective, we're going to be more holistic, some of my colleagues and I.
Thanks, Jessica. Jessica, can you tell us the story again about the really highly, like, up there in class rank student that didn't get into the University of Florida because they didn't have any extracurricular activities?
Yes, I am, and I don't quote me, but I think the GPA recalculated to like a 4.7, but in their application, they didn't tell us anything else that they were doing. And so, yes, that is not a good fit for our university. When we're reviewing, we're looking for, yes, the, academically prepared, as well as students who will enrich the vibrant campus community that we have. So that was a very like, but that's why we look at both. And so that holistic review applied, and that was a very difficult conversation to then have, but it does come into play in our review process.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Next question, is there a particular math or science class that a student has to take? They absolutely, if they don't take this class, they are not going to get into your university. Jessica, we'll go back around.
Yeah. We go by the state of Florida guidelines, and I would say probably any SUS system. We're looking, you know, I think it's Algebra 1, formal geometry, Algebra 2, and then an additional math past that. So that's literally the base. So you got to have 4 units of math, but whether it's AP Stats or AP Calc, that is up to you. Now, yes, looking at the curriculum in that, calculus is more complex. I find statistics very interesting, more applicable, but again, that's because of what I do, right? Like, I'm looking at statistics. We're not taking your major into account, so we're not looking for a particular chemistry or a particular physics or which math that is. So no, it does not play a part. We do not have to see AP Calc. Now, the flip side of that is, yes, if everybody else has AP Calc, then it looks like, or who was offered admission, then it looks like you need AP Calc. But that's not what we're using as the barometer to say, oh, they don't have AP Calc, then they're not getting in. That is not what we do.
Thanks.
That makes that clear enough? Like, that's
yes.
Not what we do.
Yes, thanks. JU, did you want to speak? Because, you know, it's a little bit different with a private school.
Yeah, we're pretty much the same. Even though we are a private school, we still do follow those Florida guidelines. So you need to have 4 years of math, 3 years of science. There's no specific courses, just you got to follow that standard path, and then it's up to you exactly which math class you take, whether it's calculus or statistics, completely up to you as a student.
Thanks. UNF, did you want to chime in, or?
Oh, same guidelines for us as well.
Okay, great. And then VSU, any difference, or?
No difference. As long as you can complete the Florida guidelines to graduate, you're good to go for us.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Ms. Sterling, do you have any follow-ups?
Can I just chime on? There's one more just aspect that I think comes up a lot.
Sure.
Working in dual enrollment versus versus the AP class. So if you have the choice between AP Statistics or AP Calc and college algebra dual enrollment, the concepts within those classes are at a different level. So also we will see that difference. Again, we're looking at your application holistically, and yes, once you come into college, you have to test and you have a, you know, kind of where your placement is. But understand that sometimes that's when it could look like, you know, I'm taking dual enrollment, it's the same as AP Calc, but it's not really, because calculus is like 3 steps, 3 concepts, geometry, and don't quote me on that one.
Right. We're not math people. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
That one's not my sphere. But so understanding that how that reads through your curriculum as well, so that you're building on concepts and still getting to that point. Now, if math isn't your thing, if science isn't your thing, that's fine too. Like we just kind of picked subjects.
Right.
So like understanding that the curriculum that you're going through is what we're looking at. That comes into play as well. Again, not a hard and fast rule of, well, don't take college algebra. No, that's not what I'm saying either. Just understand what we're looking at and what we're reading in the rigor and the progression of the concepts that you're taking.
Okay.
That answers the question that, I was just about to ask. It was a follow-up question from one of our students who was concerned about progression of courses in the STEM fields. Do you look at course progression with science or math, and you know whether or not a student takes biology or chemistry or AP environmental science as a underclassman versus what do they take their senior year? So
just kind of jump in and we can circle back around to yes, we will look at the progression, but again, there's not one that's better than the other. again, making the story of you make sense in what you're doing. So working with your counselors, you guys, to make sure that that's accomplishing the goals that you're after. Now, if you are interested in the STEM field and you're wanting to move forward and you're looking at, well, if I get a 3, 4, or 5 on this AP exam, that doesn't come into play for admissions. When you're being, advised, if you're a student on our campus or campuses, that comes into play then, because, depending on where you want to start with that journey. But again, there's not one preferred over the other. It's your story. You're building the story based on what you want to do.
Okay, thanks. So let's say that a student is, you have 2 students and they both got to that level of calculus. One got to the level of calculus with dual enrollment and one got to the level of calculus with AP classes. Right. Okay. But on the other hand, if a student got to the level of MAC 1105, because that's more like an Algebra 2 type of level, and then another student got up here to AP calculus, it's because this is a harder concept math. That's what you're saying, just to clarify.
Yes, but what I'm also saying is that doesn't automatically mean we're going to pick the calculus student over the MAC 1105 student.
Okay.
Because there's more to it.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, let's talk about senior year schedule and senioritis. So oftentimes, and most high schools really at this point, allow students to modify senior year. And you can sometimes modify and maybe only take 3 to 4 classes, 3 to 4 high school classes. So maybe let's talk about strength of senior year schedule, keeping in mind that balance of not overextending yourself. JU, do you want to take it first, and then UNF, and then VSU, and then UF?
So it's definitely great to see a senior who still is challenging themselves and not kind of just going to that little senior year slide and just trying to cruise into college. Keeping you challenge yourself, because that senior year, it really can be your test run for college and getting ready for that academic course load. And then another great thing is it's a good chance to just look back and be like, okay, is there any classes I still need? That's your chance to do it. It's like, okay, I have all my math and science done, but I still need an extra year of foreign language. It's like an easy place to kind of slide something in, because senior year is the year where you're most flexible with making your schedule in high school. So I think that's something that's really good to kind of just look at your high school picture as a whole and see what type of classes you still want to take. And then like we said before, it's the same thing we'll always repeat. It's good to challenge yourself, but not overwhelm yourself. So you don't want to go over the top trying to show that you don't have senioritis by trying to take 5 AP classes. If they're not going to do well in that, then it's still the same thing as before. Make sure you're finding that right balance where you're challenging yourself, but not overwhelming yourself with your senior year schedule.
Thanks.
Yes, I completely agree. Definitely number one is to make sure that you've taken all of the courses that are necessary for you to graduate and for you to finish high school. That's definitely what's most important. And then in likes of challenging yourself, if you have that free flexibility in your schedule, like he was saying, it's definitely a great opportunity to start, taking some additional college courses. It's a great opportunity to enroll in dual enrollment courses and start earning college credits, thinking about what it is that you want to major in, what it is that you would like to pursue for your future career. It's a great opportunity. It's never too early to start early. So definitely take the flexibility of having a free schedule to embark on that journey. So
Awesome, thank you.
I'll just kind of say, just stay on track to graduate and keep your grades up for VSU. I have seen in the past where students get accepted into VSU or other colleges, and then that, especially spring semester, senior year, they're like, well, I got accepted and I can just slack off, I'm done, I'm accepted, and then they don't do well, drops their GPA below the minimum requirement, and then we have to retract that acceptance after we receive a final high school transcript, which is never fun for anybody in the admissions office. So just make sure you're staying on track to graduate and keeping those grades up even after you're accepted, not only to VSU, but to any college.
Yes, amen, amen, amen. Yes.
For us all.
Yes, very good point. Yes. UF?
And yes, I was going to circle around to that one too. But ultimately, when we are reviewing your application, it is the strength of your senior year schedule that comes into play, because your GPA is calculated through junior year. So that's the other thing. Keep in mind, juniors finish strong, and then what you're planning to take. Yes, we view it as ramping up to come to college, not I'm done, I'm going to take a break. Because again, what you're doing in the application is saying, this is what I'm doing current and will continue to do through my senior year to best display to us how you would fit and how you would succeed in our academic community. So yes, finding that balance, keeping that balance, challenging yourself through the end of your senior year, because yes, I head up that review committee. You don't want to hear a call from me in July going, hey, we just got your final transcript. And number one, because we use the SSAR, we also double check what you told us. So you don't want to be disingenuous with any grades. Make sure that you are transcribing appropriately, because you don't want me to ask you, well, you didn't put this C and D on there. Do you remember getting a C and D? Because you only told me A's and B's. That's a problem. And then, yes, how you completed your senior year. Because yes, if you did not complete your senior year in the same academic caliber that you presented in your application, then that could impact that decision to rescind an offer of admission. That's not where you want to be. You don't want to hear from me once, you know, you've gone through preview orientation, like you're done with me. So if I'm calling you, it's a problem.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Sterling, did you have any follow-up?
Yeah, I hear from students sometimes once they've been accepted, it's not just about maybe doing poorly in a class after they've been accepted, but also, well, halfway through the year, I don't really need this science class to graduate and I've already been accepted. Can I just drop it in the middle of the year? Do you notice that?
Yeah, I'll just kind of circle back around, because one class, yes, but if you're severely dropping, again, that academic caliber that you showed us, that's where it starts to become, well, I pulled it up to let you guys know, I've got over 150 students from Bartram that I'm reviewing this year. Like, then you took a seat, we offered you a seat from a very competitive school into a very competitive school. And so if you are severely changing the academic caliber of your senior year that we used as a part of that, not the whole thing, but as part of that review, then it could put it into jeopardy. That's where we're always like, talk with your school counselors, talk with us, but one class, okay. Multiple classes, that becomes a problem.
Well, let me just follow up with you, Jessica.
Sorry, guys.
Because I'm guilty of this, is you send them to me, and I appreciate that. Go talk with your school counselor about what our policies are and what do I recommend. But I often send students to all of you, college admissions representatives, and say, you know, I don't want to be the expert. I'm not the expert on what that school that you're trying to get into is looking at. Would you call your admissions representative at the school? Okay. Good, you're okay with that?
Yes, no, I'm not saying only talk to, I'm just saying, you know, talk with both sides of your home destination or your home field and your destination to kind of see what that impact would be. Most definitely.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Yeah.
We're getting thumbs up from everyone too, so that's good. All right.
So students, it's okay to call and talk to an admissions representative and ask them questions. They're there for you, right?
Yes. We want you to ask us questions.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
And I will say, yes, you know, knowing that I'm kind of covering competitive schools, so yes, call Marissa, call FSU, call USF, UCF, whoever you are interested, because we each will have a little bit different. So you want to get it straight from the horse's mouth. So I'm kind of covering bases here with that, but know that it's the same concept. You want to call the destination to get their input.
All right, awesome, thank you. So a few other questions, and it kind of still ties about that senior year schedule a little bit. So at Bartram, students junior year, they are offered the opportunity to take both ENC 1101 and ENC 1102 on campus with us at Bartram, which means for high school credit, they're done with all of their Englishes by the time that their end of junior year, so they're done with the English. What we try to tell them is that they probably need to still take some kind of English. Is there, like, what are your thoughts? AP English, AP Lit, English for honors, another dual enrollment English options, nothing? They shouldn't take anything?
I don't think we'll recommend that one now.
I can jump in on this one. I would say definitely it's case-by-case basis on the student. They don't want to overwhelm themselves with a very difficult course in their senior year, but it's a great chance to kind of get a head start. I love what Latonio said. It's never too early to start early. So getting maybe a little jump start, maybe doing an AP or dual enrollment English class and getting a little bit of college credit. And just to be clear, I know we talked about AP and dual enrollment earlier. Just so students know, a clear distinction between AP and dual enrollment is dual enrollment, at least for JU, I don't want to speak for other schools. If you get a C or better, that dual enrollment credit will carry over as college credit to JU. But then if you're taking AP, it comes down to the AP examination to make sure that you are able to get college credit to that. So it's something to kind of plan out ahead of time and really try to map your plan and say, okay, I can take this AP class, but then it's going to be your senior year. You got to make sure you still stay on top of it. Because if you take that AP class, you really want to make sure you're able to get the full value of it. And the full value of it would be doing well on the exam, so you're able to get that college credit as well. So it's definitely consider when
also keep in mind that for the AP English classes, you score 3, 4, or 5, you're getting credit for ENC 1101 and 1102. But if you already have that credit, then it translates into elective credit. Right. So you can also look at that to say, okay, well, I already took ENC 1101 and 1102. So, I'll get more elective credit versus you don't get 2 ENC 1101s, if that makes sense.
Right. So basically look at the college, the students should look at the college that they are wanting to attend, the major that they want to be in, and then kind of work their way backwards from there to plan their AP and or dual enrollment classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to chime in on. A lot of the majors here at VSU, unless you're in English or that kind of field, we only require the 1101 and 1102. So you really want to look at, especially if you're going into a science or a math, do you even need another English course? Maybe you would be more beneficial taking an AP science or a dual enrollment science, depending on the major that you do want to go into. If they ever have any questions, I don't want to speak on behalf of the other admissions counselors, they can reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Or even if they're still undecided, we can kind of help guide them and be like, well, maybe this would be more beneficial at this time for your plan.
Yes.
Yeah, and just to add on to what I was saying before, it doesn't have to be just an English class either. By pushing that junior year and taking both of those English courses together to get your 4 required, that gives yourself an opportunity to have that flexibility your senior year where you can add a different class if there's something that you need, like a foreign language or a science class or anything like that. Or if it's just something that's interesting to you, you can add that as well. It's just definitely something that you can do with your senior year schedule to be more flexible. And will definitely prepare you for college as well when you're making your schedule in college.
Okay, thanks. But ultimately, let's not listen to rumors and let's go straight to our college reps and ask them. That's what they're saying to everybody right now. Okay, all right, awesome. And then in the state of Florida, students only need 3 science classes for graduation, biology and 2 additional sciences. So most students are done by the end of junior year. A lot of times, because those math classes are also accelerated to middle school and students are starting Algebra 1 in middle school, a lot of times high school graduation requirement wise, they're finished with math courses too by the end of junior year. Now, if a student is not going to college, then it's a different conversation, obviously. But if a student is wanting to get into a university, especially some of the more competitive universities, are we done with our math and sciences senior year just because high school credit wise we're done? Jessica, do you want to pick this up?
I was like, I feel like I'll jump in first on this one. I would say, practically speaking, no, because as, again, you're a competitive review, we're going to look at what the kind of academic community provides. You have opportunities to continue your academic preparation. So yes, doing the bare minimums in anything would not be as competitive as still taking academic coursework. And I think a little bit bleeds into the last question as well. So yes, I'm not going to tell you that you have to take more than 3 sciences, but where you have a space in your schedule, fill it with an academic course. Yes, it makes most sense then to spread that out and take, you know, again, another English, another science, you know, something like that. But it's more so that academic kind of journey doesn't end just because you hit those minimums. And that's what we will see in competitive reviews, and I'll, you know, throwing my friends in too, that it is, no, we're not going to expect everyone to do the exact same thing. But generally speaking, filling a space in your schedule with an academic course, as challenging as you can, you know, kind of keep that balance, will be more competitive for a review process.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else want to go ahead?
Sure. I'll say, of course, everyone's situation is different, but I believe it all boils down to where you currently stand and where it is that you're trying to go and trying to achieve. So if you put those two together and see what you have, what's needed, that'll help you to determine, you know, what else you can handle, what else you can add additionally into your schedule to really strengthen your academics, strengthen, you know, all of the things essential that are needed for you to succeed in your college career.
Awesome.
I'll chime in as well. I think especially if you're going down a science, math, that kind of track, you want to stay sharp in those skills. I was a student who finished my math my junior year, and I was on track to do AP Calculus, and I said, no, thank you. And then when I took calculus my first semester freshman year, I felt it. That year-long break, you definitely notice it when you get to college. So if you can take an AP, take a dual enrollment, go ahead and knock that out. It's 1, free for you, will save you money later down the road, and 2, you will be more equipped to be more successful in that course, and it would be a little bit easier on you maybe then than it would be after taking a year off and then having to kind of get back in the swing of things.
Right, because it goes back to, it's not just about getting accepted into college. We also need to graduate with a degree and be successful in college. Yes, so let's set ourselves up to be successful in college. Jay, do you have anything to add, or you good?
Everybody pretty much hit the nail on the head. I like what Jessica was saying, just because it's the minimum. Like, that's not exactly, that doesn't mean that's what we look for. So definitely just keep pushing yourself and keep going.
Awesome. Ms. Sterling, do you have any follow-ups?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, all right. That is it. Thank you, everybody. Unless you have anything to add, we are good. I appreciate everyone taking the time and being here with us to help us support our Bartram Bears.
Yeah, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.